People around America are dead broke. However, the system has found more and more ways to continue to get people to spend. And just wait until I show you what the system is actually doing and how there is an overwhelming amount of phantom debt that's not even in the data. People are way worse off than what the data actually shows. Now, here's the important thing. If you want to know what to do with the information I'm about to give you, if you want to know how to win, then stay tuned to the end of this video and I'll give you my personal opinions on exactly how to win despite all of the craziness that's happening right now. But let's start here. And by the way, if you guys learn anything, just give me a like, or better yet, come on, give me a bonkers. Give me a bonkers below. Enjoy. Now let's start with buy now, pay later. I've never, in my entire adult life, I've never heard of anything like this. Back in the past, we had something called layaway, and we didn't get the item until the whole thing was paid off. Buy now, pay later is insane. It is changing the very fabrics of society. 3 bullet points. Number 1, according to Statista, Consumer Insights, roughly, listen guys, this is shocking. This is shocking to me. Roughly half of US adults have used, roughly half have used buy now, pay later services, with roughly 40% of additional people who haven't said that they could imagine using it in the future. So basically, what this is saying, think about it. Only 10% of us are not willing to use it. How are there only 10% of us? I'm one of the 10%. How are there only 10% of us? How do, according to this, 90% of people think it's a good idea to use buy now, pay later? I don't think so. Bullet point number 2, the May 2024 LendingTree buy now, pay later tracker finds that 31% of Americans are considering applying for a buy now or pay later installment loan this month. This month, 31%. 31% of Americans want to get and plan on getting a buy now, pay later installment loan this month. And you tell me that the economy is okay. You tell me that consumers are strong. Consumers are better off than before. How? In what way? Bullet point number 3. Additionally, 39% of Americans say they expect to apply for a buy now, pay later loan at least once in the next 6 months. Insane. Absolutely incredible. And then if we dare to ask, like, how many people are actually paying this? How many people could even afford to pay this imaginary phantom debt? Well, let's look at an article from Bloomberg. The title is Americans Are Racking Up Phantom Debt That Wall Street Can't Track. So Wall Street bulls, you can't track this. Get it? Now, in this entire article, there's really 2 points that I want to make, that this article is making actually, that I think is great. There are signs that consumers are struggling to afford their buy now, pay later debt. A recent survey conducted by Bloomberg News by Harris Poll found that, listen, 43% of those who owe money to buy now, pay later services said they are behind on payments. 43%. Again, half of America is using this. For the people that are still in debt, 43% delinquency. Let me tell you the other issue here, the second paragraph here. The buy now, pay later behemoths say credit agencies can't handle their information, okay? And that releasing it could harm customers' credit scores. So they don't want, the behemoths, the lenders of buy now, pay later, they don't want to give the creditors their clients' information that, by the way, is required by law. It's called the Fair Debt and Credit Reporting Act. So they're required to report it, but they don't want to report it because everyone's behind. 43% of people are behind. And if that was reported to the bureaus, their credit would be destroyed. Do y'all see the gimmick? Do you see the scam? Now, the next obvious question is well, how much debt is there? Okay, well, it's phantom debt. We can't track it. But if we know half of America is using it and half of those people are behind, how much debt are we talking about here? This is a great article by Bloomberg. Everything's going to be linked to my description. Title is Billions in phantom debt is lurking in buy now, pay later scams. I'm sorry, I misspoke. I'm with a slow reading group. It says services. It's a good article. It was a back and forth, but this is one thing that I really wanted to hone in on. You guys can read this for yourselves if you want. At least one expert at Wells Fargo estimates that there's about $46 billion in phantom debt. And that's just from buy now, pay later. And that's just in the US alone. There are actually also some other estimates that have projected that globally, the industry can hit 700. Again, let me say this again. People are used to hearing a trillion. 700 billion per year. Needless to say, inflation is a huge problem for America, for American households, families, consumers. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't really matter your age group. The inflation, all of the money that's out there that we can't touch, by the way, we see the money everywhere, but we can't touch that, but we have to pay for it, but we can't touch it. You guys, America cannot afford the inflation. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, we see that, okay? That's the buy now, pay later. But we know people can't afford it because people can no longer even save money. Starting with the personal savings rate. Now, this updated April 26th. Personal savings rate's 3.2. But for anyone that wants to make an argument that households and families and Americans are better off now than pre-COVID, just to put this in perspective, people and households and families and just everyone was saving at a rate of double to where it's at right now. So savings rate right now was 3.2% of income. 2019 December, double at 6.4. People can't save because people need that money to live their life. Not only that, all of that COVID money printing that everyone's always talking about, including myself. And by the way, I have 4 children. And I'm not rich, so I got maximum benefits. And I could tell you it was way more than a few $1,000s, okay? The excess savings, the cumulative excess savings, don't forget, all of that money printing into the households, it hit 2.1 trillion. Excess savings, you see this is from the Federal Reserve. This is a report from the Federal Reserve, okay? Y'all, that 2.1 trillion, it's gone. We have less money saved right now than we did pre-pandemic. We're down 72 billion. We're down 72 billion. In no data that I can see are we better off than pre-COVID. We have less money now. We have the ability to save less money, and the system is set up to continue to get us to spend. And you see quantitative tightening destroying the consumer. You see it. There's a lag effect, y'all. You see it here. This is the monthly change in cumulative excess savings. Ever since quantitative tightening happened right about here, look at it. We've been spending billions and billions and billions of our savings, not even talking about checking, our excess savings to stay afloat, to stay ahead. And it's evident that we've replaced our ability to save with debt. We see that in this chart, guys. This is undisputable. We're not able to save. We don't even have savings. We've replaced that savings with debt. And this is why I believe part of the reason why we see M2 money growth right now. We see people spending to the end. We see it here. Consumer credit card debt. We are in excess of $1 trillion with a T, $1 trillion. This is not buy now, pay later, ladies and gentlemen. This is just credit card debt. So we don't have the savings. What we have now is credit card debt. But I guess the real issue with the credit card debt is fine. You know, people can still charge. There's still money to charge. It's lower than the GFC. Well, it's not lower than the last 10 decades. The delinquency rate, people are struggling to pay their bills. Okay, we see that. We can't even track buy now, pay later. But again, we can track credit cards. Okay, the delinquency, look at the trajectory. This is a decade graph. This is a 10-year projection. We have accelerated past the last 10 years of delinquency rate. Is that GFC levels? We're about 1% under GFC. But again, look at the health of the consumer. We're broke. We're broke in debt, and we cannot pay our bills. Delinquency rate at Q1 of 2024, things are worse now. The delinquency rate is worse, but just Q1 2024 sitting at 3.16%. And the problem is, and I continue to say this, the problem is there is just no financial way to afford to be able to pay this. There has been no income growth during these massive everything bubbles. All of the asset prices blowing up. There's been no income growth. In fact, the collapse has just been replaced by government jobs, deficit spending, all of the stuff in the history books. All of the warning signs are there. The writing's on the wall. But the problem, again, I say to the bulls, they don't care. They don't want to talk about it. There's no income growth. Look, starting with real median household income. And now real is adjusted for inflation. And let's be honest, this is the better gauge to watch. Now, I know you guys want nominal decline in house prices, and I believe we will get it, but a better way to track things, especially income, is adjusted for inflation. And if you look here, and this is median household, so this is all people living in a house, whether they're renting from the current owners or not, all people living in a house. We actually peaked. People don't realize that. We peaked in 2019 at $78,250. For 3 years, that's gone down. This is lagging data. We still don't even have 2023 on these charts. Income went down during all of the price run-ups to $74,580. That's not good. And it's impacting families just the same. When we look at real median family income, now this is only taking family members, whereas the last set of data takes total members of households. So this is only members that are families, and it's a higher number. It is a higher number, okay? 2019, though, peaked out, adjusted for inflation, $97,970 for 1, 2, 3 years, flat to decline. We are now under 2019, sitting at $92,750. How, and if you guys can comment below, and if you disagree with me, how is the consumer better off? And what that I just showed you, we looked at savings, we looked at debt, we looked at income. How are they better off? Because they have equity in their house? Well, let me tell you something about those people that have equity in their house. Guess what else they have? Higher property tax bill. That's right. And guess what else? A higher homeowner's insurance bill. And that's not just talking about like hurricane cities. You're going to have a higher homeowner's insurance bill because your dwelling is now worth more and the replacement cost is now higher. But on top of that, new debt. All of those past homeowners, guess what? They're fighting inflation too. They're hurting just as much as some renters. In fact, some renters, many actually, are in a better situation than the homeowners because they're free to move as they choose. If you own a house right now, you're committed. And you guys, America, whether you're renting, whether you're owning, is behind on their bills. According to this survey from Fox, don't hate me, impacts following inflation. The survey found that 37% of Americans are behind on monthly bills. Ouch. It jumps up. This is even more heartbreaking. So if you want to thank someone, thank the government, thank the Fed, thank the corporations, the greed, the corruption, the fraud. This is horrible. This skyrockets up to 53% of Americans behind on their bills that are parents with young children. Americans, families, old, young, illegal, not illegal. Inflation is breaking us all. And if you want to know what the solution is, at least in my opinion, what's the solution? Remember, you guys, I'm coming from a place that I had a bankruptcy foreclosure repo. I had to dig myself out of the gutter to get great credit. And so if you want to know what the solution is, the first thing you got to do is understand that you don't have to be part of the problem. And if you want to do something right now, I would say the first thing that you need to do is start saving your money. How do you do that? You rebudget. How do you rebudget? You got to figure out what's going on. How do you figure out what's going on? I dare you to look at your bank statements. You guys, I do my taxes. I'm going to tell you, your bank statements will show you exactly what you're spending your money on. And really look at it. If you guys want to get ahead, then you have to plan ahead. And no one's going to care about your finances and about your life and about you getting ahead like you do. Another solution, though, I did make about a 2.5-hour home buying class. And I'm going to tell you guys, 20 years in this business, I poured my heart and soul. Is it pretty and beautiful? No. But if you guys want the facts, if you want to know what wedge, cash flow, income, purchasing power, you want to know what all those things are, take the free home buying course. If you guys are in distress, if you have a commercial loan, commercial property, fill out the link below, email it to me, and I will call you back personally. But either way, Hope you guys are careful out there. I hope you're not part of this. And regardless, and I don't want to be unsensitive, there are people that just cannot get ahead. And for those people, my heart goes out for you. Maybe you can move in with family. I don't know. That's what I did when I lost everything, but I definitely wish you guys the best of luck. And if you're out there investing in real estate as well, I wish you luck. But more than anything, no matter who you are, except corporations, I hope you win.